Justice Watchers, before we begin, I want to make this absolutely clear. The following broadcast contains public domain courtroom footage, commentary, and legal analysis. This content is presented under the Fair Use Doctrine as defined by 17 U.S.C. 107 and is protected by multiple Supreme Court rulings, which you see below. This stream is transformative, educational, and journalistic in nature. It includes original commentary, trial breakdowns, legal interpretation, and critical analysis, not raw redistribution. We do not claim ownership over any public domain footage, and all use is strictly within legal bounds. If you're watching this content, you're engaging in a protected, transformative experience, grounded in law, never in speculation. And if anyone has a problem with that, take it up with Campbell, Brady, Miranda, and Irvin. Remember, guys, justice always works better when we watch. So keep watching. See you in the courtroom.
Duly organized as such, the January term, AD 2025, upon their oaths in said court present, that Uriah Urick, Jr., on or about the 6th day of February 2025, and anterior to the presentment of this indictment, in the county of Galveston, and state of Texas, did then and there intentionally cause the death of an individual, namely Tammy King, by shooting her with a firearm, and the defendant was then and there, in the course of committing or attempting to commit the offense of robbery of Tammy King, against the peace and dignity of the state, and signed by the foreperson of the grand jury.
And to this charge, how do you plead guilty or not guilty? Your plea of not guilty will be entered into the minutes of the record. Thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. Each side has 15 minutes. You may proceed.
Thank you. We all remember our first young love. Young love is supposed to be new. It's supposed to be exciting and fun, filled with butterflies and first dates. And a lot of us experience that in high school, when there's a lot of things going on, things are changing, and it's supposed to be a fun, exciting time. But sometimes it turns into something darker. And it turns into something darker when somebody is going down a path and takes the other person with them. That is what happened with Uriah Urick and his girlfriend, Tara King. Both of them were high school students for Dickinson, and ultimately they started talking, they started dating, and as many teenagers, they fall head over heels in love and begin a relationship. Both of them were described as kind of artsy, quiet, a little bit more kept to themselves. People who talk about Tara would tell you that she was shy, but if you talked to her, she was really friendly. and she would tell you about anything. But what they would also tell you is as she starts dating Uriah, they notice that he becomes possessive, that he's pulling her away from her friends. He's isolating her. He's speaking for her. She's getting quieter and quieter until the only person she speaks to is Uriah. Now, Tara has been raised by her grandmother, Tammy, and they live in a house in Bacliff. And Tara has lived with Tammy since she was about 2 years old. Tammy, in fact, adopted her. Now, another teenage boy sleeping in her granddaughter's bedroom. This caused anger. As I said, over time, things between Uriah and Tara started getting more possessive, started getting darker. Friends started noticing that she was pulling away and becoming more isolated. You will also meet somebody named Terry Utton. Terry was somebody who was in a relationship with Tammy King, who had known the family for almost 40 years, who had known Tara for her entire life. And he will tell you that he noticed Tara and Tammy fighting more and more. And it typically surrounded either Uriah or Tara going to school and finishing her degree, her high school diploma. You're going to hear from Terry, who on February 4th, 2025, he had a normal day with Tammy. He came by and visited her. He was at their house till the late evening hours. And he saw Tara and Uriah there. They ordered Taco Bell DoorDash. Nothing seemed amiss. It seemed like a normal day. Tammy was laughing. Tammy was happy. They'll tell you they were cutting up. Terry left that night, texted Tammy goodnight, and went to sleep. Just a normal day. What Terry didn't know was Tara and Uriah had launched a plan. And that night, they finally decided they were going to go through what they'd been planning for months. What I expect you to see through evidence of their Instagram records and other communications is that they had thought about how they needed to get rid of Tammy. See, Tammy had some of Tara's inheritance that was waiting for her when she turned 18. It was about $10,000 in cash. Tammy also had some family jewelry. And Tammy also was in possession of hundreds of firearms. While that may strike you as odd, it's because Tammy's late husband had owned a gun store, and when he passed and the store shut down, all of the gun product came to Tammy's house. And it was in safes and tubs and put away for the most part. But they were very expensive guns, and a lot of them. And you will see through the Instagram messages between Tara and Uriah that they knew that all of that could buy them a new life, that they could run away together, that they could live their happily ever after with that $10,000 and those guns and that jewelry. But Tammy was in the way. And you will see that as time went on, Uriah got more and more adamant about needing to get rid of Tammy. You'll see in his messages him saying, "Please let me kill her. Let me do it today. Can I shoot her tomorrow?" You then will see Tara back and forth with him. "I don't know. He says I won't do it without your permission. Yeah, we need to get rid of her. This is the start of our happily ever after." All the way up to that night, Tuesday night, they send out the message to each other, "We ride at dawn." Their plan was set. They spent the remainder of that night planning, getting their stuff together, getting high. And in the morning hours of February 5th, Tammy is texting Terry Utton, and she is frustrated because Tara slept in again and Tara's not going to school. So now we have another point of contention. And it is the perfect excuse for Uriah and Tara to execute their plan. Ultimately, Tammy is laying in her bed. She's been texting Terry, and Uriah walks in. And you will find from the Instagram messages he discusses that he actually tried to shoot her with a .22 first, but it jammed. So that didn't make him stop and second guess. We grabbed another gun. He grabbed an AR-556, and he stood behind Tammy, and he shot her in the head, and he left her there to die. Now that's where we get to her death. But they weren't done. Remember, they wanted this $10,000 and these guns and this jewelry. You will also see through their phones and social media that they had already located the codes for the safe, the passwords. You will then see through their phone messages, through their images, that they then proceeded to open up these gun safes. They took the $10,000. They took the jewelry. They went through Tammy's purse, stole all of her credit and debit cards, her Cash App card. They loaded up with guns. They stole her phone. And they began massively asking their friends on social media for a ride. You'll see that they started sending out $500 for anyone to take us to Illinois, $1,000 for anyone to take us to Wyoming, and incessantly calling their friends, "We need a ride, we need a ride, we'll sell you guns, we'll give you money, we need a ride." The first person that answers them is Nathan Anderson, who you will hear from, who was going to give them a ride, but ultimately his mom saw that he wasn't where he was supposed to be and made him come on home. So he helped them get in touch with his friend Rigoberto. You will also hear from how he pulled up to that house. They made him stay on the phone until he got there. They made him back in the driveway, not look or see what they were doing, while they loaded up the trunk and they got in the car. Ultimately, Rigoberto took them to another friend, Christian, in Pearland, who worked at Energy Metals. Christian then took them to his house, his apartment in League City, where they stayed for the next 2.5 days. They offered Christian to pay him in guns. He was like, "I don't know about that, just give me $300 a night." So they did. You'll hear from Christian that over those 2 days that they were there, they first went to Walmart, where they proceeded to buy hair dye and scissors and tried to change their appearance. Uriah shaved, they both cut their hair and tried to dye it different colors. You will then hear from Christian how they started getting more and more paranoid. That Thursday, they heard a knocking and they believed cops were there. So they demanded that Christian come home and check. By Friday, they're getting more and more paranoid. "Christian, you really need to come home." While this is happening, Terry has realized he's not heard from Tammy. He's asking her, "Is something wrong? Are you mad at me?" And he's getting a couple answers back, but they don't really sound normal. "Yeah, just a long day." And ultimately, then his messages stop going through. They change color. He says, "Have you blocked me? What's wrong?" Concerned, Terry calls 911 and goes to Tammy's house, where something he feels is clearly amiss. Because the police have to have aggravating circumstances in order to enter your home, all they had was a girlfriend not answering a boyfriend's text for a day and a half. So the sheriff's office said, "We don't have ability to enter." Terry said, "Well, I'm going to call Chris, Tammy's son, and I'm going to enter. I'm going to make sure she's okay." You will see through Deputy Couch's body cam that ultimately Terry enters that home. And you will watch as Terry walks inside. He notices something doesn't smell right. And then you will see as Terry walks out of the house, sobbing and devastated, saying, "You need to get in there." What police find when they walk inside is Tammy is lying on that bed where Uriah and Tara had left her. But they had taken sheets and laundry and piled it up all over her body so you could hardly see her. You'll hear from Terry that they moved a washer behind the back door to block the door from being opened. They locked Tammy's bedroom from the inside. They blocked the window with a mattress. They locked the front door. They did everything they could to try to hide it. At this point, an investigation begins, and the sheriff's office puts out a press release on that Friday. Terry and Uriah immediately see it, and they are in full-scale panic. At this point, they contact someone named Travis Hodges. You're going to hear from Travis this week. Travis ultimately got charged in this case, too, with hindering apprehension of a known felon, as well as unlawful possession of firearm by a felon and manufacture and delivery of controlled substance. He has entered a plea agreement with the state to testify. That is, he is going to go to prison for 10 years in exchange for his testimony. Travis is going to tell you that they reached out to him and they made the decision to go to Laredo instead of Wyoming or Illinois. So the border is going to be their best shot. So you're going to see evidence not just from Terry, or from Travis, I apologize, but also from his car GPS records that they drove from Lake City to Laredo on Friday night into Saturday morning. You'll also hear from an officer of the Freer Police Department that he actually pulled them over on that drive, and you'll be able to see that body cam. You will hear then that once they got to Laredo, they slept in the woods that night. On Saturday, they got a motel room at Motel 6. And at this point, people had started calling in based on that press release. Because of this, the Galveston County Sheriff's Office was able to partner with the U.S. Marshals and DPS on zeroing in on them in Laredo. On that Sunday morning, the 9th, they were checking out of the Motel 6, walked across the street to Dollar General, and were ultimately apprehended by Texas DPS. What you will hear later is when they got back to Galveston, a few days later, the Galveston County Sheriff's Office pulled over Travis Hodge because they learned at this point that he'd driven. When they pull over Travis Hodge, you will hear from him that he said, "You're going to want to take these keys with you. That's where the murder weapon is." See, like I stated, Travis was a prior felon, unlawful possession of firearm by a felon. So he said, I can't keep these guns with me. Uriah had given him 2 firearms. And Uriah had told him, there's a body on one of these.
2 minutes remaining.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Travis took those firearms, went back and forth on what to do with them, and ultimately purchased a storage unit and put all of those items inside the storage unit. Travis then cooperated with Galveston County Sheriff's Office and gave consent to go in that storage unit where they collected those firearms. What you will also learn in this trial is that all of those firearms got sent off to Texas DPS Crime Lab. What I expect you to hear from Texas DPS is that the shell casing found under Tammy King's bed and the projectile found inside Tammy King's body both come back to that AR-556 that was given to Travis Hodge by Uriah and found in that storage unit. At the end of the day, Tara and Uriah could not wait any longer for the money, for the jewels, for the guns, and to be together. And what could have been just waiting a little longer to be teenagers in love turned into capital murder. At the end of this week, we will ask you that on behalf of Tammy King, who was robbed and killed, to find Mr. Urick guilty of capital murder. Thank you.
Mr. Agnew, you have 15 minutes.
Judge, I'd like to reserve.
Yes, sir, you can do that.
Thank
On
you.
first witness.
State called Deputy Hunter Couch.
Judge, I'm going to invoke the rule.
All right, the rule has been invoked. proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Deputy. Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Deputy Hunter Touch, Hunteder, last name is Tauch.
And how are you currently employed?
Galveston County Sheriff's Office,
How long have you been employed at the Galveston County Sheriff's Office?
December of 2024.
So coming up on a year?
Yes, ma'am.
And what role do you hold at the Sheriff's Office?
Patrol deputy on night shift.
Patrol deputy on night shift. Is that the entirety of your law enforcement career?
No, ma'am.
So before we get to that, what does it take, what kind of training experience is needed in order to become a peace officer?
You have to pass the police academy. You be hired by an agency,
How long is the police academy typically?
roughly 5 minutes.
And where is it that you attended the academy?
Galveston College.
Once you attend the academy, is there any sort of credentials that one must have in order to be a peace officer?
You have to pass the TCOL test.
And what does the TCOL test include?
It's a series of questions over laws and the penal code, transportation code.
And is that licensure something that you keep forever, or do you have to have continuing education to maintain it?
You have to continue education.
And when was it that you became a peace officer?
June of 2020.
So you're going on about 5.5 years, is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
So what was the first place that you were employed after passing the TCOL test?
Galveston Police Department.
And at the Galveston Police Department, what roles did you have?
I started out as night shift patrol, and I transferred into special operations and traffic safety.
Just kind of briefly, what is the difference between those three roles?
Night shift patrol, you answer calls for service while also being proactive. And traffic safety is a proactive unit. You don't necessarily answer calls for service, you go out and proactively interdict crime before it can occur, hopefully.
And by nature of being traffic safety unit, is that more driving related crimes?
Yes, ma'am.
And currently you said you're a patrolman at the Sheriff's Office, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What is kind of a typical day in the life for you as a night shift patrol deputy with the SO?
Answer calls for service, make traffic stops.
And for the Sheriff's Office, are you assigned to the entire county or a certain area?
A certain area.
What area are you currently assigned to?
Highway 6.
And is that the same area you have been assigned to your entire tenure with SO?
No, no.
What other areas have you been assigned to?
I've been assigned to Bay Shore, I've been assigned to Dickinson, I've been assigned to Highway 6, and I've been assigned to Bolivar.
Okay. And for those of us who may not be as familiar with parts of the county, what is the Bay Shore, or where is that?
It's the San Leon Bacliff area.
Okay. And this may sound silly, but what county and state are San Leon and Bacliff in?
Galveston County, Texas.
Okay. I want to bring your attention to the night of February 6, 2025. Do you recall that date?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you on duty that day?
I was.
What duty were you assigned to?
I was assigned to the Bay Shore on D shift patrol.
And on that night, did something occur that led us to be here today?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that?
I was a special welfare concern.
And when you get dispatched, what kind of information do you usually get?
And then it varies on the call. Usually an address and a short synopsis of what's going on.
And you said in this case it was a welfare concern, is that correct? Where was it that you were dispatched to?
At 4500 block of, I believe it was 15th Street,
In what city?
Bacliff.
Okay. And did you know any other information before you arrived?
Male was requesting to check the welfare of a female. He hadn't heard from her in a couple of days.
Your Honor, statement moved this time to admit States 1. It's been listed with a VRA. It's a 911 call from Galveston County Sheriff's Office.
Objection.
Hearing no objection, State's one will be admitted.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
answering the door. I'm fixing to break the door in. I beat on the windows. I beat on everything. I've got her son on the other line, and he told me to keep the door in. But that's a big old oak door, and I don't think I'm going to get through it.
Okay, and so what are you needing? Like, are you running a welfare check on him?
Well, I mean, I'm fixing to break in over here is what I'm fixing to do. Because there's two women in there, and neither one of them's answering. They haven't answered in a day and a half.
And it's your daughter and your niece?
No, it's my sister-in-law and my grandniece. I guess you'd say grand. She's my niece. Her husband's passed away. She's a widower. Widower.
Okay, and what's your name?
My name is Terry Utton. Spelled Utton. It's the last name.
And good callback number?
409 312 9406.
Okay, I'll have a deputy and over there to speak with you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
And Deputy Couch, was that 4723 15th Street, the same address you were dispatched to?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you arrived on location, can you tell the jury what it was you saw?
I saw the caller standing in the driveway of the address location.
And what was that address location? Was it an apartment, a building, a home?
It was a single-story house.
And you said you made contact with the caller standing in the driveway, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ultimately, without telling me what anybody else said, what did you do once you arrived?
I made contact with the caller and asked what was going on.
And what did you do next?
I walked around the residence and attempted to make contact with the females inside.
Were you able to make contact with anybody inside the home?
No, ma'am.
What sort of things did you do in order to try and make contact with them?
I called the female's cell phone multiple times, knocked on doors, knocked on windows, announced sheriff's office.
At any point, did you or someone else try to make entry?
The caller did, yes, ma'am.
And can you tell us a little bit about that? What did you observe him do?
I observed him go in through the rear window of the bathroom in the master bedroom.
Were there any other places he tried to get in first?
Yes, ma'am.
Where was that?
The laundry room.
Was he able to get in through the laundry room?
No, ma'am.
Why?
It was blocked by a washer.
And you said ultimately he went in through a master bathroom, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how was it he was able to enter that master bathroom?
He contacted the female's son and he was given access to enter through the window.
And was the window unlocked, or what? How did he actually open it?
No, ma'am. It wasn't locked, or it wasn't unlocked. I believe he had to break the window.
And ultimately, did you observe the caller make entry?
Yes, ma'am.
Upon him making entry, what did you do or what happened next?
I walked to the front door and waited for him to open the front door.
And did he open the front door?
Yes, ma'am.
About how long later?
Less than 30 seconds.
And when he opened the front door, what did he seem like? What was his demeanor?
He was very upset. He was crying.
Okay. After he opened the front door, what did you do?
I entered the residence and began a search of the residence.
And can you tell the jury a little bit about what you saw upon entering the residence?
When I entered the residence, I saw guns in the living room, a bag of dog food opened in the middle of the living room, and then walking further in to the kitchen and dining area, there was pieces of a magazine cover in the kitchen, and then immediately to the right in the hall, there was a partially loaded 22 long rifle magazine. Immediately back from the kitchen area was the master bedroom. That's where the female was.
Okay. So before we get to the master bedroom, did you make contact with anyone else in that home?
No, ma'am.
And you said that there was a female in the master bedroom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So can you tell us a little bit about when you walked into the master bedroom, what are you seeing?
There was multiple gun safes open and gun boxes scattered. There was pills all over the ground, multiple bullets on the floor, and there was a female laying horizontal on the bed, covered with multiple blankets and sheets and stuff.
So the status of the room, did it look orderly or disorderly or something else?
It looked like it had been ransacked.
And you mentioned the gun safes. Were those closed or open?
They were open.
And then the female you're discussing who said horizontal on the bed with sheets and things on top of her, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Were there any signs of life in this female?
No, ma'am.
Once you determined that, what was the next step that you did?
I contacted CID and ID,
And why is it that you or first of all, what is CID and ID?
Criminal Investigation Division and Identification Division.
And generally, kind of what are those two divisions for people who may not know?
They are detectives. CID, detects. They do the investigation on the criminal side, and ID photographs crime scenes and such.
So is it fair to say one kind of deals with people and one kind of deals with evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why is it that in something like this y'all contact CID?
Because they have extra training in regards to their specific fields.
Okay. So once you contact those departments, what is your next step?
Secure the scene and then wait for them to arrive.
Is that what you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, on the night in question, Deputy, were you equipped with any sort of body cam?
I was.
Was it in fair functioning order?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy, I'm handing you what's been temporarily marked as States 2. Please take a look at this and let me know if you recognize this item.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you recognize it?
My initials.
And is it a true and accurate depiction of what it purports to be?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, statement is to admit States 2.
No objection.
States 2 will be admitted.
And may I publish, Your Honor?
Can I see the Could you turn that off, please?
Deputy, is this the house in question that we've been talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is this individual?
That's the caller.
Do you recall his name?
Terry.
while we see you talking to Mr. Eden on screen, can you tell us why or why not a sheriff's deputy could enter somebody's home?
If there's exigent circumstances to enter the residence,
And at this moment on the video, did you have any exigent circumstances?
no ma'am.
Why not?
Because there's no driving force to enter the residence. There's no imminent danger.
And so ultimately, what were you able to do at this point?
At this point, just attempt to make contact with the females inside.
And is it fair to say that y'all are outside the home for a little bit?
Yes ma'am.
I'm going to press pause on states 2 at 2 minutes and 55 seconds and move forward to about 7 minutes and 4 seconds on states 2.
You said there's a dog this year?
It's a little bitty black one.
Is it not barking? That's over here. Sheriff's office. Sheriff's office. Sheriff's office.
And pressing pause on stage 2 at 10 minutes and 54 seconds. Deputy, do y'all stand here and talk for a couple minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to press play again on stage 2 at 15 minutes and 11 seconds. Deputy, what do we see you doing right here?
I'm trying to call the female's phone.
And do you know what her name is at this point?
Tammy.
Your call is important.
And while you're calling her, are you hearing any sort of ringing or movement from inside the home?
No, ma'am.
And Deputy, we tell the jury what part of the home are y'all walking to now?
We're walking through the backyard towards the laundry room and the back porch.
And in general, what was the status of all of the doors and windows of the house?
They were all locked.
There's a wash machine in the way.
Oh, no, that should be, no. Why is all this stuff? Oh my gosh, baby. Oh,
It looks like this thing fell over. There's a whole.
hold on a minute. Oh.
pressing pause on stage 2 at 20 minutes and 43 seconds. Deputy, is this the door you spoke about earlier that was blocked?
Yes, ma'am.
And ultimately, what did you observe blocking it?
I believe it was a washroom machine.
And did you or Mr. Edinger both attempt to get that door open?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it one of you or both?
Both.
And were you able to get that door
I
open?
don't know.
And then for the next few minutes, what do y'all do?
Walk around the rest of the residence and get in contact with Tammy's son, who gives Mr. Terry permission to break through that window right there.
I'm going to press play on states 2 at 25 minutes and 5 seconds.
But out here. That was locked. That was unlocked. Damn. Don't tell me you got bulletproof glass on this.
They tried.
What We got a lot of explaining to do, son.
Just be careful, please. Don't move on you.
Uber driver, Uber, she got in the vehicle, he drove away, she canceled it. Advice, he pulled over and nothing on my officer for his way. Like, you know, you were pushing long female, short dress, white line.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna go. He's gonna go check. Go and lock the front door for us, and we'll help you check the house. Okay.
Press pause on stage 2 at 34 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, Deputy, at this point where we just finished in the video, What happens next?
I contacted ID and CID.
Is that when you stated you maintained the perimeter until
Yes,
they
ma'am.
arrived?
Yes, ma'am.
After they arrived, did you have anything else to do with this case?
I assisted on a crime scene log,
And what is a crime scene log?
entering and exiting of the crime scene.
So just kind of keeping track of people?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than that, was there anything else that you did?
No, ma'am.
You're all right, pass this witness.
Thanks, Radley.
No questions.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Call your next witness.
The state would call Nathan Anderson.
Okay.
Sounds like that witness is from the bathroom, Judge. They're
Okay. Y'all need a bathroom break? Good? Yes. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break.
All rise for the jury.
State calls Nathan Anderson, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Anderson. Will you please state and spell your name for the record?
Nathan Anderson, NathanAnderson.
And Mr. Anderson, how old are you?
19.
And if I asked you to give us a 2-sentence descriptor of yourself, what would you tell us?
I'm a swim instructor. I teach kids how to swim.
And is that what you want to do long term, or what's your life plan?
Hoping to get into something like HVAC or a tree.
And Mr. Anderson, where did you grow up?
I was born in Galveston, but I moved to League City after Ike.
Okay. And where did you go to school?
Dickinson High School.
And what year did you graduate Dickinson High School?
2024.
So roughly a year and a half ago?
Yes.
Now, do you know anyone by the name of Tara King or Uriah Urick?
Yes.
Which one?
I know Tara King more.
Okay. You say more. Does that mean you know Uriah a little bit?
I think with what's transpired, this is probably my first run-in with Uriah.
Okay.
I know of him, but this is where I actually first spoke with him.
Gotcha. And so let's start with Tara. When did you meet Tara?
In my sophomore year of high school, we were kind of just acquaintances who knew each other through friend groups.
Okay. So did y'all kind of run in the same circle?
No, we just knew people that knew each other, and we ended up following each other on socials.
So adjacent circles, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you first met Tara, was she in a relationship with anybody?
I'm not under the impression that she was.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what your impression of her was when you first met her.
Well, I thought she was kind of a shy girl, but when I got to know her, she kind of opened up a little bit more.
Okay. And did you and Tara develop a friendship or an acquaintanceship, or kind of tell me what y'all's interactions were like?
I'd say an acquaintanceship. We only talked very sparsely, but every interaction that we had was friendly.
Okay. And did y'all predominantly talk in person or on social media?
Social media.
Okay. And what social media would that have been?
Instagram.
Okay. And then you said you knew of Uriah. How did you know of Uriah?
I knew him that he was Tara's boyfriend. Later on throughout the year,
Okay.
that I knew Tara, and then I've seen him in the hallways a couple of times. Some people have talked about him before, maybe other friends, but
Okay. So is it fair to say you knew who he was and what he looked like, but y'all didn't talk much?
yeah.
Okay. Now, do you see the person, when we talk about Uriah, do you see that person in the courtroom?
Yes.
Could you please identify him by where he's seated and the item of clothing?
He's wearing a gray button-up shirt, and he's on the left side of me.
Your Honor, may the record reflect this witness have identified the defendant.
The record will so reflect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, you said that you knew that he was Tara's boyfriend as the year went on. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what did you notice about that relationship, if anything?
Nothing of note. Like I said, I only knew Tara as an acquaintance, so I don't think I really paid too much mind to their relationship.
Okay. And when you did see them at school, if you were paying attention, were they often with groups of people or by themselves?
I think they were among groups of people around the first while that they were dating, but as time had gone on, I think they started to stay like in a more close circle.
Okay. So the groups got smaller, is that fair?
I believe so, yes.
Now I want to bring your attention to February of this year. Do you recall February?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did something occur that made you have interaction with Tara and Uriah in February?
Yes.
Okay. What was that?
So, in February, I was sitting in college, and I was in the computer room just working on some essay, and then I got a phone call from Tara, and she had told me that.
No, don't tell me what anybody says, okay? So you get a phone call from Tara.
Yes.
Is she the only one on the line?
No.
Who else is on the line?
Uriah.
And just to in case, just so everyone's on the same page, do Tara and Uriah ever go by any other names?
I know that Tara went by Aaron, and I believe that Uriah went by Percy.
And were these just nicknames they would go by?
Yes.
So, just to be clear, if we're talking about Aaron, that's Tara, correct?
Yes.
And if we're talking about Percy, that's Uriah, correct?
Yes.
You stated you got a phone call from Tara and Uriah.
Yes.
What was it that Uriah said on the phone?
He had seconded what Tara had said about the grandmother that they were staying at the house with being abusive towards them.
Okay.
And I think that had kind of prompted them to ask me, hey, can you give us a ride away from this situation?
Okay. So the phone call was based for a ride?
Yes.
Okay. And was there any communication after that initial phone call?
Some, just to further the details of where I would be picking them up and what they would be bringing along with them.
Okay. And did you have those conversations also through Instagram?
Yes.
Was it through both calls and messages?
Both calls and messages.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? All right, Ms. I'm approaching you with what's been marked as states 3 through 14. Without telling me what they are, will you please look through them and let me know if you recognize them?
I recognize these papers.
All right. And how is it that you recognize them?
They're my messages and Tara's.
They're your messages. And these are the same calls as well that you had with Tara and Uriah?
Yes.
And have they been changed or altered in any way other than the evidence sticker that's on them?
No.
Your Honor, State's going to move to omit states 3 through 14, tendering to opposing counsel for any objection.
No objection, Judge.
Hearing no objection, states 3 through 14 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. It may be state published.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Anderson. so I'm showing you what's been marked as states 3. Can you tell us what that name is at the very top?
Aaron,
And we discussed earlier that Aaron is who?
Tara,
And for those of us who may not be social media savvy, what social media application is this?
Instagram,
And on what side would be the messages from Tara and Uriah?
Tara's messages are gray and mine are blue.
Okay. The ones coming from Aaron's phone are on the left, and the ones coming from your phone are on the right. Is that correct? So, can you tell us what time this initial call came in?
8:51.
And do you recall on what day of the week that was?
I believe it was a Wednesday.
And you told the jury here a minute ago that you were trying to work out a ride. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Of course. You told the jury that in your conversation with Tara and Uriah, you were trying to work out details of a ride for them, correct?
Yes.
And were you going to give them a ride?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. What was your plan?
Well, we had talked about some locations that I would be able to bring them to. First, Tara had suggested that they would be taken to Wyoming, and I couldn't drive them that far. That was a little bit out of my league to do so. But then we had kind of settled down and said that they could stay the night at my place. So that's what we were going to try and get together.
And so in states 8, is this kind of what you're talking about? They were telling you where they lived, and then you say Wyoming was a little far for you.
Yes.
Okay. And ultimately you said the decision was made for them to crash at your place for a little bit, okay? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, ultimately, did you end up picking up Tara and Uriah?
No.
Why?
So the address that they had sent me, it didn't have the full location listed on the link that I was going to click on. And I started driving to a separate area, and when my mom had seen where I was on a Life 360, kind of like a tracker, she said, "Why are you going to Houston? Come back this way." So I ended up pulling back, but before I did, I had phoned a friend and called him to try and pick them up instead.
And who was that friend?
Rigo?
And in states 12, we see a couple messages and calls and then a phone number. Can you tell us kind of what's happening at this point in y'all's conversation?
So around that time with the phone calls, that was when I had told them that I wasn't able to pick them up because I needed to head back home. And the phone number listed at the bottom, that was me referring them to my friend.
And that was, you said his name was Rigo?
Yes.
And do you know, was Rigo ultimately able to help them?
Yes.
Okay. And on states 13, kind of what's happening here?
So here I had, this is around the time that I had just finished sending them the phone number, and I told them that I wish them best of luck on finding a place to stay, and that was where we essentially stopped talking.
Okay. Now, after they got picked up by Rigo on that Wednesday, did you hear from them again?
I did hear from Rigo.
You heard from Rigo?
Yes.
Okay. Without telling me what Rigo said, when did you hear from Rigo?
30 minutes after.
Okay. So close in time to the same time period, around 12:30 hour we were looking at?
Yes.
Okay. And after you touched base with Rigo, did you hear from Tara or Uriah anymore that day?
No.
Did you hear from them the next day?
No.
You're gonna make a personal witness real quick.
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as States 14. You'll take a glance at it and see if you remember that message and when it was.
Oh, yes, this was the day after.
Okay, so you did hear from them the day after, is that correct?
Yes.
And in States 14, tell us a little bit about what's occurring here.
So, this was the day after Rigo had dropped them off, and I got asked about anybody else that I knew that I could refer them to take them further out of state, but I had nobody, and that was it.
Okay. And we saw in that last message that they were offering something in exchange for the ride, is that correct?
Yes.
What was that?
Money?
Now, after those messages, did you hear from Tara or Uriah again?
No.
At that point, which I believe is Thursday, did you know if what they had told you was true or if anything else had happened or anything bad was happening?
The only thing that I was aware of was that what they had told me, that the grandmother was being abusive towards them.
Okay. And so, at any point after Thursday, did you come across or become aware of something else?
2 days after, so I'd say Friday, that's when there was a Facebook post, and that was saying that the grandmother was found dead in the home, and then that Tara and Uriah were suspects.
Okay. And once you saw that, what did you do?
I called the police.
Okay. And when you called the police, did you tell them everything that you've testified here today?
Yes.
And did you also provide them those screenshots we just showed the jury?
Yes.
After you spoke to the police, did you further contact or have any communication with Tara or Uriah?
No.
I'll pass this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Acme?
Thank you. Sir, my name is Bill Agnew, and I represent Uriah, who's sitting here to my right. What was the nature you had of the relationship between Tara and her grandmother?
I only really knew Tara on a acquaintance level, so I don't think that I knew much about her family affairs.
Was that the first time you heard that her grandmother was abusive to her?
Yes.
Okay. You never heard it any other time other than that?
No, sir.
And y'all didn't talk about anything other than that?
No.
Okay. And your involvement or knowledge of Uriah was even more limited than that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay. Any further?
Nothing further?
Thank you, sir. You may step down. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the 5 o'clock hour. I'm going to go ahead and release you for the day. I'd like to remind you to please study the instructions that I've given you. Follow all instructions. Do not research the case. Do not do anything. Go home and enjoy yourselves. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30. Thank you.
All rise for the jury.